Okay, at last, my new pilot jets have come in. There they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, straight from Kawasaki / Mikuni. Here's the two originals that, despite sitting in parts carb cleaner for almost 3 days, still occluded from the ethanol or the rust or whatever was in the fuel. Essentially blocked, so I only had 2 functional pilot jets before. Now I've got all 4, and the carbs are all spick and span clean. As you can see from looking at it, if you recall from my first video that I posted, I guess about a week or so ago, all of this in here internally was just covered with a layer of rust and goop. Just awful, a real mess. It took me several days of disassembly and cleaning to get everything squared away. Anyway, we're getting ready to put the final touches on it, get it all back together, and get it back in the bike and get it operational again. One thing I wanted to show you, these are the fuel bowls, of course. They too are now nice and clean. Also polished them just a little bit. I went ahead and replaced, and I mentioned this in my other video. Let me see if I can give you a representative example. Hopefully you can see this, maybe not. I don't know if this camera will focus. This is one of the original Phillips head. It's actually Japanese industrial standard. Little screws that hold the bowls onto the carburetor body. And they're infamous for being soft and easy to chew up. And when this is on the bike, which of course it'll be upside down, and in particular these 2 carburetors, it's extremely difficult to get at these screws with the carburetors on the bike. And if those things are chewed up, it pretty much means you have to do what I've done here and have the entire assembly off of the bike in order to get to it. So I decided to replace those with these nice stainless steel hex head screws, which look better, number one, and number two, they just have more to grab onto, the little hex key thing. Here's the hex tool to take them off with. They're infinitely better, in my opinion, than the factory stuff, and I know that purists will say it's not exactly correct and yada yada yada, but you know, this is one of those minor deviations from stock that I'm absolutely willing to suffer for the sake of both looks and for functionality. Let me just pop this one on here because I want to show you the tops and the rest of the carburetor before I stop this video and commence back to wrenching. Boy, sometimes I wish I had somebody to hold my camera for me. Alright, I'm just going to put this one on just a little bit here so you can see what the rest of the carburetors look like now that they're nice and clean. And by the way, I just have them sitting in this bench vise. I do not have the vise closed. This is soft aluminum and fragile, and you don't want to mess it up. Oh, something else too. I keep forgetting things. I mentioned in my last video that the jets that were in the carb, the main jets, these are the main jets that I had originally, were 22.5. And while I had everything apart, I decided to jump up a little bit and go to 125s and just to see how the bike runs. If it runs a little bit too rich, it's no big deal to pop out those main jets and replace them with the 22.5s. Alright, let's see if I can do this with one hand. Alright, here's the back of the carburetors. Actually, the engine side of the carburetors. You can see it's all nice and clean. And hang on, I'm going to put this down for a minute. And here we go. Here's the top view. So you can see now it's all really nice and clean. Got the nice chrome carburetor tops on there and everything. So all that's left to do now is to button everything up. I'm going to put the carbs back on the bike here, hopefully in the next little bit, get the bike running, and then the last thing to do is to sync the carbs. And I'll make a little video of that so that you guys can see how to sync the carburetors on one of these multi-carburetor bikes. Anyway, that's it. Come on down to epautos.com for more. I'm going to post a little write-up about this. Also, we have some funny videos of bad drivers, which we call clovers, at epautos.com, which you can see at epautos.com, and also our internal page, which is called clovercam.com. So, we'll see you next time.